there is something called, Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses.
Ring-a-Roses.
So it is about talking about a disease that is being spread in, London, UK, many centuries ago. Why are we learning that Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses now? Atmanirbhar Bharat is there, where we are manufacturing and producing for the world now.
Jack and Jill, Johnny, Baba Black Sheep. I can go on and on.
British rhymes, no. Indian English rhymes, please introduce. When I was child, what was being taught, most of the curriculum and syllabus are still the same. Close to around 350 plus schools are currently using Lilbeez. More than 50,000 children every year are touching our books.
He has sent me the video and the child is keeping on turning the pages. Wow and wow and wow. Why most preschool education systems fail? Preschool is not as easy as ABC.
If you have great teachers in the school, then you will have a great school.
Day by day, new things are coming in the market. Yeah. I was, drawing each and every book. A, writing 4 times, classwork, homework, drawing a big apple for them to color. Like this, 26 letters for classwork and homework. Oh boy, that was really tedious. Pre-nursery is not babysitting. They want their children to write as soon as possible.
Schools know what they are doing.
Quality education is only going to come with well-trained teachers. Hi. I'm Kiran Shankar, Principal Little Kids Preschool. Today we have a special guest with us. I welcome him to our podcast. He deals with little kids, NICC, which is a Nursery Teachers Training Center, and also with Lilbeez publications. He lays strong foundations in young children. He deals with many schools, teachers, and he does a lot of things which you will not believe. So let me introduce Mr. Kirtish Makam to our podcast.
How are you
doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So I just wanted to know that how did you get into this educational field?
To be honest, I know that you know a little bit about it. I started in 2017, right? So I first, soon after my education, I started a pharmacy and then I was working in an MNC, and after which I joined here. Sampath sir had my father, who had started it, wanted to take this to the next level. And therefore I thought, okay, let me, get involved myself, and therefore, here I am.
As you know that, from 2004, I'm working with your dad, Mr. Sampath Kumar. And that time you were very young, right? I've seen you grow.
Yeah. I was also in the first or second batch of summer camp.
Exactly. We had some nice memories of that day, right? Yeah. And then I remember Sampath sir telling me, that I want Kirtish to join. But Kirtish is telling me, no, I'm doing my MBA and I want to go abroad and all. So I was telling him, that let him do his own choice. Let him, just give him his choice. Let him go ahead. But then he said, no. And then finally you just join, Lilbeez and NICC.
It's very
really
nice.
Wonderful.
From being a student in the same school as a summer camp, of course, not as a preschool child, from a summer camp student there to coming and taking care of, how the business is going to move forward.
Correct.
It is a great inspiration for myself, when I see it. And it also gives me the sense of this is where I had grown when I was a child, and then I have to take it. The responsibility is always much more.
I can understand your feelings in this. And plus, we're very proud to see you grow. And plus, you have achieved so much and you are, taking care of so many things very wonderfully. Salute to you, sir.
Honor is mine. But all the team of little kids has been, a great source where, have brought this institution and the organization to this level. Without, your base, probably this wouldn't have grown. So thanks to you too.
So I just wanted to ask you that, why most preschool education systems fail and how training plus curriculum can fix it? Yeah.
So many, preschools that are coming up right now is the ones who is having experience as a teachers, right? Maybe some teachers might have worked for about, say, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years in their career. And then they see how the admissions are happening, how the teaching happens inside the classroom. And then, they are the ones who normally go ahead and start preschools. Okay. Once we know who starts the preschool and, what is their mindset, then we can understand what is the success rate of the preschool.
Okay.
So for any preschool teacher who starts a preschool, definitely they don't have so much of knowledge about the management aspects. And there is also one other set of people who are from the admin department of the schools, who has been seeing the preschools running for couple of years, and then they also start. And there are something completely new. They are not in the pre-primary industry or education sector at all, but they want to come here because they have heard great things about preschool, how successful any entrepreneur can be in running these preschools. The thing what happens is for a teacher, they don't know the management aspect. When they start a school, they will fail because they don't have the management systems is in place. And they are very good in academics, no doubt. They are the best. But what happens regarding the marketing? Now, out of passion, they want to start a preschool. Okay, not to make money or anything, right? So once they start any preschool out of passion, their passion is inside the classroom. But most of their time after starting a preschool, they will not spend inside the classroom, but they will spend inside the office room.
Exactly.
Sustaining is very difficult in preschool. Especially preschools are happening in metros, tier 1 and tier 2 kind of cities. The rents are very high. Salaries are very high. Whether you got the admission or not. Okay, rent and salaries will come and eat you every single month.
So in short, you're trying to say that preschool is not as easy as ABC, right?
Exactly. So it is not as easy as ABC. It is much more to it than that.
So what really matters more, teachers' quality or curriculum, according to you?
Definitely, the teacher's quality is the most important aspect of any preschool. The teacher quality is going to decide whether it is the successful preschool or not. The main reason why I would say the teachers is the important pillar of the organization. It can be any syllabus on this world. There are hundreds of syllabuses that are coming into place, and there are new pedagogies that are introduced in the preschools nowadays, that are tested in the preschools. But if the teacher is not doing it as the way it has to be done, or the intent of how it is to be handled, then the whole point of whichever the curriculum you follow, whether it is going to be Montessori method of teaching, playway method of teaching, Rigo Emily method of teaching, or a traditional nursery method of teaching, any curriculum for that matter. So it is a teacher. If you have great teachers in the school, then you will have a great school. The teachers has to be trained on a regular basis. So like in our training programs that we do on a monthly basis, we equip them to be better every single month. It's not that we train once and then chalo do the training for the next 10 years, 15 years, nay. Or at least 1 year also it is too much. So what we do is we train them every month so that the morale of the teacher is always there to continue this.
And plus, they need to learn new methodologies. Day by day, new things are coming in the market. So they should be well trained and well equipped with the latest methodologies. Polishing
the knife is equal in the kitchen is how important it is. Polishing the mind is also equally important. Polishing the skill set is equally important.
Can you just tell me how the right books can reduce teachers' stress and improve learning outcomes?
This rule, I don't know why we at schools here in India, the preschools in India, are still having a lot of curriculum that has been taught when we were children. When I was child, what was being taught, most of the curriculum and syllabus are still the same. And most of this curriculum are also imported into India still. So Atmanirbhar Bharat is there, where we are manufacturing and producing for the world now. But the curriculum and the education still we are importing from the Britain, Oxford and Cambridge or XYZ kind of publications that are currently there. So it has to be stitched into the existing the environment, and therefore having about 20 years of experience in this industry, we have come out with our publication that is been Indianised, that is there for our Indian market, where we call it as Lilbeez. So with Lilbeez, basically it is an Indianized curriculum where the content and the concepts are being based out of that is much more relevant. And for example, rhymes. If you can think of a rhyme, anything that is being still practiced in the preschools is. Can you give me one example?
Jack and Jill. Johnny, Baba Black Sheep.
Exactly.
I can go on and on.
Yes. So we have not heard any names as Jack and Jill in India, nor we have having any very foreign sounding kind of terminology.
Goosey gander.
Exactly. So we don't do any of those things. What we have to be impacted. What we have to get into the classroom of our Indian preschool classrooms is much more Indianized content. The children are going to learn that, and they are going to grow with this. And there are some British rhymes. Okay. Of course, I have to let them take it offense. There is something called, Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses. So it is about talking about a disease that is being spread in, London, in UK, many centuries ago. Why are we learning that
Yes.
Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses now? Maybe here in Karnataka, we can have Kannada rhymes.
Yes.
Maybe in Tamil Nadu, we can have Tamil. In
Mumbai.
Andhra, we can have, in North, of course, we can have Hindi. So there is no, I'm not saying we should not introduce English. English, of course, has to be there. Along with that, one local language rhyme also has to be introduced. So English rhymes, British rhymes, no.
Yes.
Indian English rhymes, please introduce. Absolutely. So this is what is going to, help our children be more appropriate and more relevant to today's education industry.
So now that you mentioned about rhymes book, I would like to ask you, what about the notebooks? Because I remember when I joined Little Kids in 2004, those initial years, I didn't have any printed books. So I had about 20 to 25 kids in the class, and I was an LKG teacher. So I was, drawing each and every book. Writing 4 times, classwork, homework, drawing a big apple for them to color. Like this, 26 letters for classwork and homework. Oh boy, that was really tedious.
I think it used to take close to around 1 hour every day.
Yes, more than that, I guess.
More than 1 hour.
Yeah, because the accuracy should be there, neatness should be there, right? So it was really tedious.
Correct.
So I really wish, sir, that those years, if Lilbeez had come, wow, it would be something very nice.
Correct. So thanks for being instrumental in development of those books also.
Yes.
So with a lot of your inputs and what has been much more required in this. In our, by the way, our Teacher Training Institute of NICC, right? So where we have trained close to around more than 10,500 teachers, and then with this teacher training experience and their feedback and our feedback from your side.
Yes.
All of these insights were, brought down to boil and have a concoction of Lilbeez publication.
Yes.
So this is going to reduce close to around, say, 1.5 hours of time on a daily basis. Why saving 1.5 hour is very important. 1.5 hour, okay, doesn't sound much maybe for a layman or a common man who is standing outside and listening. But 1.5 hour per day is very important for somebody who is running the school for about 4 hours. So out of 4 hours, more than 30% of the time is being used only for teacher to write and not to engage the children.
Yes.
Half an hour of prayer, half an hour of lunch break, and how much is the total working hours of the only 2 hours?
Only 2 hours.
Out of this 2 hours, teacher, you are writing for 1.5 hours. Half an hour you are teaching and sending them? No. But introduction of Lilbeez is going to be a game changer inside the preschool classrooms, where the teacher can spend more quality time in teaching. And this is going to have a lot of impact in early childhood education for their, growth and development. It's been close to around 4-5 years, ma'am.
Yes.
We have, numbers where we have seen a lot of improvement in, the preschool children. The teachers are happy that they don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day. They can invent a new wheel.
Yes.
Why you want to invent the same wheel every single day, right? They are able to have much more quality outcome at the end of the academic year. And at the end of every single day. And this is impacting their learning ability. Once they go to the next standard, the teacher now has to think what is there in the curriculum the child is able to do. I should bring in something more important, something, these critical thinking skills. Where we at, Lilbeez are always thinking about it is not only the knowledge part that we have to do. It is also about how they think, The preschooling is very important about the ability to think.
What parents misunderstand about early childhood education, according to you, sir?
So, this is a very interesting question because I have experience, I have spoken to a lot of parents, I have spoken to a lot of, aspiring teachers. Most of the aspiring teachers are homemakers, right? I'm I've taken a break from my career working in an MNC now so that I can take care of my child inside my home, as well as I should be able to give more time for my family. And in this kind of a scenario, most of them will, take up this teacher training program that we are offering through this NICC. They have a common misconception thinking that pre-primary is consistent of Montessori, LKG and UKG. Nay. Montessori is a method of learning. It is not the level of learning.
Yes. You won't believe, sir. When parents come for counseling and they want to put their child in pre-nursery, and when I tell them the fee structure, they say, why? Why the fee structure so much? It's just like babysitting. Pre-nursery is just babysitting. It's like only playtime. They just come, play, eat and go. Why so much I have to pay? So we need to educate these parents that pre-nursery is not babysitting. Your child has a lot to learn. Right? Montessori versus structured curriculum. What actually works in Indian classroom, according to you?
The great approach is a combination of both Montessori method as well as our traditional, playway method of approach inside preschools. We can actually take the best possible, scenarios or the best possible methodologies that we can implement inside the preschool.
Okay.
And for example, Montessori is going to think about morely focus about cognitive development. Maybe some people say there is no physical education that is being part of Montessori in the pre-primary. Most of the pure Montessori schools do not have open area.
Yes.
Right? Some of them might
and
have.
I heard
I'm not
that,
saying no.
I heard that they are not supposed to give a pencil till the age of 5.
Yeah.
In, particularly Montessori
Of
schools.
course.
And, nowadays parents, they want their children to write as soon as possible.
Correct.
Right?
One other thing, we also have to focus on, many of the preschools are, changing their method of learning or changing because of the parental pressure. Even though they know what is the right thing to do, the schools are doing as per the request of the preschool parents. Some parents are there very much, parents are very pushy sometimes. Okay. I want my child to do this.
Yes.
Make them do this.
Yes.
Teacher can simply say no. This is not how it has to be, put in place. But sometimes when parents will gang up and come and approach the management, the teachers especially, please make them do this. They're asking for the first standard. It seems my neighbor's child has gone to the school and then they ask this question. If my child doesn't know, it is going to be a problem. So you please teach in the UKG only right now. Yeah. So this kind of pressure is there.
True.
Preschools know what they're doing. So please give them that chance. And just because your child wants to get admission in the first standard, the child has to know all of these things. There is nothing as such. For the first standard, there is no such thing. Only thing any school will definitely check is how appropriate the child is, settled for taking up the first standard in our school.
Correct.
Meaning to say, I hope the child is not special.
Yes.
If at all they have any learning disabilities, they will check.
Of course.
Directly getting into the first standard, definitely they might have objections because the child is not environmentally settled. Okay, the child doesn't know how to, greet strangers. That is, when they come and ask questions, they will get scared and they will go back and hide.
Yes.
So social skills has to be developed, emotional skills has to be developed, the ability to express has to be developed, the ability to think in any situation has to be developed. So therefore, preschooling is important. Don't skip preschooling. What I'm trying to tell you is have preschooling and don't worry about pushing too much of knowledge in preschool children when they go for first standard and all. That's how it is.
Absolutely. That's why our Lilbeez books are also interconnected. See, these children are into the developmental age. Whatever you teach, it will go in their head.
Correct.
But why? What is the big hurry? Let's go step by step. Let's give them the knowledge, age appropriately. But many of the parents, no, they want, their children to learn tables in play home or write, A to Z in play home. Yeah, so as you said, many of the parents are very pushy, and so we need to give them the, some counseling or knowledge so that they can think a little more.
I think whenever the schools have this, before the academic year begins, one very good orientation session has to be given to the parents.
Yes.
This is what you can expect.
Yes.
So don't please push for more curriculum to be covered.
Correct.
Don't push for all of this. No.
Absolutely.
So only tell, how the parents has to be there, how the interaction between the parents and the teachers and the management has to be there.
True.
So once we keep this, boundary clear, then I think all of these issues can be resolved.
Exactly.
And that's how we've been doing it here in Little Kids for quite some time.
So in spite of doing so, we still get parents like, the child has come the very first day. Okay, he's still trying to settle, trying to understand the premises, the environment, the teachers. And when the mother comes and picks, like she says, did he mingle with everybody? Did he converse? Okay, or did he play with everybody? Did he talk to everybody? So as you said, orientation day has to be more effective, very, it has to be done it in such a way that parents do understand that this is what the school is and this is what we have to.
Each and every child takes its own time of learning. So please give that time.
Yes. So since we started Little Kids from 2004, right? So it's 22 years of operation. And we started at a very slow pace. I remember I was an LKG teacher and I had only 5 students. And by God's grace, we are growing and we have got so many franchisees. I'm sure you know that we've got about 20 plus franchisees.
Correct.
So to deal with one franchisee, it is so difficult. How do you deal with so many, sir?
The mantra is simple.
Okay.
when we are running any business for that matter, any organization for that matter, so only thing that we have to have in place is the systems.
Okay.
Once we have systems in place, you just have to rely upon the system and not on any one person or not on any one particular thing to be there in the organization.
Okay.
Once the any activity to be conducted, everything will go into the process, and then the outcome will definitely be a successful one only. Having multiple centers is much more interesting because the way you conduct the business or the way you run the organization is multiple individuals will be responsible. Like for example, a person like you is very much important in one center of Little Kids Preschool. And the same person is again important when all of them come for the training. Exactly. Once in twice a year when they come to our center for the training purpose. So this is where you are making a difference in every single school. So maybe you are training, you are thinking, okay, I'm going to do the training only for today. You're actually not doing the training for today. You're doing the training for the next 6 months of time, or maybe next 1 year of time. So this is something, the training and skill gaining of each and every individual becomes so important.
Correct.
And the hiring system, the ability to check how the curriculum has been followed inside the classroom and each and every classroom, whether the children has learnt or not.
Correct.
Because without the children getting benefited in the preschool, the school will not run for a long time. Of course. So the child has to be learning a lot, and that development has to be there from the child also. And the same feeling has to be there for the parent, and the teacher should also have, okay, whatever I'm working for, I'm well paid for, and then what I also have to skill myself every year. So whenever this kind of feeling will come from each and every aspect of the preschool, only then the organization can grow and will grow.
So I believe that quality education is very important. And plus, quality education is only going to come with well-trained teachers.
Correct.
So initial years, we were having really difficult to find well-trained teachers. Correct. So that's how when the concept came about, opening NICC, that is National Institute of Early Childcare Education.
Correct.
Yes. And today we have trained 50 plus trained teachers.
Yes.
And they're doing a wonderful job across the globe.
Correct.
So I just wanted to ask you, NICC, why should a person come to NICC?
So NICC, National Institute of Early Childcare Education, is basically a place where we train the early childhood educators. Without good educators inside the classroom, without good educators inside the schools will not function properly. And we faced this issue in 2004, as per what I've heard from Sampath sir. When we started the preschool, it was doing really well. We trained a lot of our own teachers by bringing in the experts from outside.
Outside, yes.
So from outside, every once in 6 months, every few months once, the training used to happen. And the quality of the training we continued until 2008. And in 2008, when there was a requirement to one of the old parent wanted to start a preschool of in the same name of Little Kids, is when we really found the challenge that how can we share our knowledge with the new school that is going to start.
Correct.
So that's when we kind of started the NICC, the Teachers Training Institute, where we started training. We had only 3 students in the first batch.
Yes.
Now close to all the centers together, we train close to around 850-900 teachers, every year. And close to more than 10,500 teachers are currently working in all the schools across, Bangalore. So the perfect book, what we created was Lilbeez.
Absolutely.
And therefore probably, the acceptance in the market is also good. Close to around 350 plus schools are currently using Lilbeez. And I can say more than 45-50,000 children every year are touching our books.
Yes.
They're learning through our books, which is going to give a proud feeling for both you and me.
Absolutely. And now that you mentioned touching our books, I will tell you one experience. Our books are very child-friendly, parent-friendly, colorful and activity-based. Everybody knows that. So the day we had given the books, nursery parent called us at 12 in the night and he said, "Ma'am, the books you have given, my child is not ready to sleep. Okay, and he has sent me the video, and the child is keeping on turning the pages. Wow, and wow, and wow. So you just imagine the work we have put in the books, that the child is not ready to close. He doesn't want to sleep. I mean,
it's like a new toy. It's like a new toy.
An educational toy, I guess.
Educational toy, yeah, academic toy. I'm happy that children are also having that feeling with our books.
Yes, really,
with Lilbeez.
Absolutely. And even the parents are very happy because, they want joyful learning. It's not like, the old books and all that. It's very boring look.
Please tell me, what is a teacher's perspective of using?
Teachers are also very happy, sir. Teachers are also very happy because every letter, every number the child learns, it's through activity. Okay. And all these activities are based on cognitive skills or fine motor skills. So that's what helps in the future for the children. So everyone is happy, teachers, parents, and children as well. So from teacher training to classroom impact, what really changes a child's learning?
Every aspect of child education has to have a right approach to it. Whenever the approach is right, whenever we approach the child to...
you mean application?
Application, of course. So whenever this approach, whenever this application inside the school is right, like with the child, so that's when the child is going to really learn something, and the learning outcomes will be achieved only at that particular time. We at NICC have put in all of this research backed education and systems to impact the child's learning ability inside the classroom.
Correct.
Also outside the classroom. So it's not only the one-sided development that is required, it is the overall development of the child that is to be given much more priority to.
So now that you mentioned about priority of good education and all, so it's not only that we're teaching ABC or numbers.
Correct. Right? So along with this, there is a new product that we are currently building, right? The product that we are building is called the Smile Lab.
Okay.
So the Smile Labs should bring smiles in the careers of the children, the lives of the children, where it is not going to impact only by way of learning through this writing, reading methodology. It is also has to bring in the cognitive development.
Correct.
As we were also talking about introducing some kind of technology, some kind of science, some kind of practical knowledge inside the classroom environment with the children, is when we have bought in the Smile Lab.
Yes.
So Smile Lab is a combination of both Montessori method of learning as well as our new concepts of learning. You just don't have to read only through this activity-based learning inside the classroom. You can also have something called where you can touch, feel, and learn.
Exactly.
Having introduction of the Smile Lab in any of the preschool is a game changer for them. Because the children are now much more excited to learn through these new toys. So
now that you're mentioning about Smile Lab, can you tell me the full form of Smile?
Smile Lab is
S is for
very
science.
Very interesting, concept because we have got all the methodologies, all the methods of learning. S is for science, M is for math. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I is
for IQ.
Okay.
Yeah. L is for language. Okay. Enrichment.
Okay.
Okay. So all of these skills will be enhanced through introduction of these Smile Labs.
Very simple activities to enhance the fine motor skills. One day we may give them just paper tearing. Children love to tear paper. So what's happening here? This movement is working indirectly. One day we may give them stringing the beads. Now,
the same activity, if at all they do in the house now,
yes,
they are going to say, hey, don't tear the paper, hey, don't do that, don't do this.
Because they don't know. They don't know the, the net result of it.
Correct.
So stringing the beads, eye-hand coordination is helping. Sorting the pulses with the, baby tongs. Again, fine motor skills. Giving them sponge, dip and then squeeze. All fine motor skills. And plus we also, teach life skills in Smile Lab. Like very tiny tots, fine motor skills are not developed. Button unbuttoning, zip unzipping, folding the napkin, rolling the mat. Wow, they're learning life skills at Smile Lab.
I think all of these skills that you just mentioned is so much required for them to become independent.
Absolutely.
So they don't have to wait for the mom to come and zip the bag every time they open
something. That's what I tell them. Mamas, get ready. Your child is going to become independent and they don't want your help.
I want to understand from you, how parents are, also responding to something new that you introduce inside the school.
Okay.
Is there any parents that are going to come and say, chalo, my child is, learning
Yes,
something. Or
there
doing
are some
something.
parents who do come and meet the teacher and say, especially when they come in the PTMs, they've got a long list to say, and they are very happy. And whichever we are all activity based, I told you, and whatever activities are being done in the school every day, it's recorded and sent to the children through the little triangle app. So that's how the parents come to know, because see, children are very moody. When they go home, mama asks, "What did you do today?" "Enu madila nan. Teacher didn't teach me anything." Right? Then they come. So we counsel them that, ma'am, children are moody. Today, if they don't reply, it's okay. When they're playing, they'll hum the rhyme.
Yeah.
So that's when you listen. Okay, my child has learned this rhyme today.
Correct.
So many of the parents, they do come and praise us that, you have taught my child this and this shlokas and so many things, stories. It can be simple phrases. And the children go home and act like teachers. And they make their parents sit. Okay, I'm the teacher. Okay, and you're the child. You don't know anything. Whatever I'm telling, you have to listen. So teacher is the role model for them. So all the, everything goes at home, and that's how they come and praise us, either verbally or through communication. We also have a topic called good touch and bad touch, which is very essential nowadays. As you know, it's a bad world outside. So many of the parents are thinking like, 2-year-old child, you're teaching good touch, bad touch. How will they understand? So we have our technique. We have a beautiful story. We enact it and show it to the kids, and they understand it so beautifully. It's age appropriate, and we don't use any hi-fi words. We just use the direct words, and the parents are so happy. They come and they'll tell that they've told the whole thing at home, and they tell that strangers, you are not going to touch me. You're not touching me. You're not going to give me bath. Only mama, papa is going to give bath. So see the impact of our stories getting into that 2-year-old kid. That's really amazing. They're a wonderful percentage of good parents. They are very happy with us and how we go about. And they're very happy with our teachers because we have well-trained teachers. And we are just like the second mothers. This is what I ensure to them, that we are just like the second mothers to your child. And plus, our school is a very, very safe place. So they say that, why are you telling safe place? How is it like, So I tell them, see, your child's safety is our priority. So let me give you one example. We had gone for a picnic for maybe a couple of weeks back, weeks or months back.
Okay.
So we had told the parents that come and collect your child by 5 o'clock. We have come at 5 o'clock. We've reached the school. Everybody, all the children are gone, but this one child hasn't gone.
Okay.
So we call the parents. Mother is not picking the phone. Father is not picking the phone, saying, what has happened? So teachers have to leave. I told them, please leave. Yeah. I and my admin, we are staying back. We're calling and calling. It's 6 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, but there's no response.
Okay.
Finally, by 7:30, the parent picks up. So they said, what happened? We were supposed to come here by 5 o'clock. So they said, we forgot.
Oh my.
Yeah. So that's what I try to emphasize, that your child's safety is our first priority, right? That's why Little Kids is very safe for your kids, because we are just like a second mothers for your child. Yes, I hope you agree with this.
The parents are forgetting their child at home.
Yes, it happens sometimes.
It is the safest place.
Yes,
I don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. So that's a bonus point for us.
That's a bonus. Ability to speak freely, that free will, like the childhood.
Absolutely.
I think that is what we'll have to cultivate to happen until the
yes. That's what I tell the parents. See, when we were small, even if we had doubts in the class, we would not get up and ask the ma'am. No. It's like shameful. They will think that she doesn't know anything, right? I'm sure you agree with that. We would not ask doubts only. Because we are scared.
And even sometimes when we used to ask, the teacher used to respond so harshly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I have had they used to hit with the duster, backside of the duster on my hand.
Okay.
Like that.
Ouch. Yes, of course. It was allowed that time.
So it was kind of allowed back then. So therefore, that kind of environment that we all had grown up in. I think now that is something all the classrooms should be open to ask questions.
Yes.
Yes. It has to be encouraged.
Absolutely.
And failure also should be encouraged.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
We need to teach.
By the way, how do you teach failure?
Exactly. I was just coming to that. Like,
because winning, everybody gives prizes.
Yes.
How do you treat failures, or how do you handle low performance?
True. See, we need to encourage the child. We need to first put it in their mind that, of course, it's not always winning. You will have to fail. When you fail, you learn, you grow. That's how you learn and you grow. Yeah. So many children are very sensitive. Okay, he got the prize. I didn't get the prize. Why I didn't get, right? So that's when we motivate the child next time. Some children do understand, but some of them do cry. Some of them
You
will
do
take
give something
time.
for them.
Yes, of
all the
course,
children.
maybe a star or a smiley, right? Next time, definitely you will do better and you will you'll win the prize. So it's communication. It's that bond, that hug, that consoling, that
Correct.
matters.
Correct.
Because many of the parents, why you didn't win the prize? Right? So we counsel the parents, like, that's not the right way. Because, there are some parents who think that, what I feel is an apple comes from an apple tree, right? But, many of the parents, they say, "No, my child has to get 100%. Why? Why that 99? So we need to counsel the parents as well. There are some.
At least it is not something to expect out of 6 years and below.
Yes, yes.
I think
They're
any
too
such
small.
thing, anything
They're too
should be
small.
after 12 years of age.
Yeah.
How is assessment happens in little kids?
It happens for LKG and UKG. We have 4 periodic tests and 2 assessments.
Only knowledge tests?
Sorry?
Knowledge only?
No. See, our assessment cards are made in such a way, not only through paper. It's even practical. Now, for example, if I can tell for a preschooler, a pre-nursery child, can the child kick the ball?
Oh, that
Yes.
is an assessment.
Yes, that is
Okay,
an
okay,
assessment.
okay. Uh-huh.
Can the child jump with both the legs? Yes, that is an assessment. Because child is fear. He doesn't want to jump. What he does, only with one leg he jumps. No, jump with both the legs. Can the child put the ball in the basket? As simple as, can the child crumple the paper? Yes.
Okay.
And as age appropriate. See, 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20 doesn't matter.
Correct.
Did he understand the concept? That is what we want to know. That's all.
Correct.
That's how we go about assessments.
From the management perspective, we know, putting systems in place will be able to operate in many different places, where I can sit and manage around 20 different places, because we are having systems for the teacher training, to the curriculum, to having a smile lab in the classroom, to recruitment and all of these things, marketing and such things.
True.
But I want to understand from the academics point of view, we make systems and we will leave them. Does it not become rigid for you to, inside the classrooms? How do you handle them?
Is it only to the children, or is it towards
Children.
the teacher also?
Both. I can
Okay,
say both.
Okay. So now that you asked me the question, yes, systems are there and systems have to be executed properly. So what I do is the first main thing is I keep them as a family.
Yeah.
All right. Children as well as teachers. See, when you're very strict, they won't approach you. Right? They won't talk their hearts out to you. So the first main thing is I'll tell them that, we are like one family. Anytime, please approach me. Any problems, please come to me. We'll solve it. So that is one main thing which I give them assurance, so they feel, okay, she's there for us always. So same way in the school, in the classroom also. So whatever systems we have made, we have a proper timetable and we definitely make sure that the teachers execute it.
Whenever a parent, okay, I'm a parent, right? So whenever a parent has to look for a preschool admission, why should I look for a preschool admission when compared to, a regular schooling?
Okay.
Now there are preschools in regular schools also.
Yes.
Why, as a parent, I should choose preschool over regular schooling, or should I choose regular schooling only? What do you suggest? Okay,
I would prefer preschool. Why? Because see, preschool, the children are limited in the class, and plus
Limited in the
class, like the ratio. The ratio will not be too many. It can be 18:1 or 20:1, which parents are very happy. They don't like cramped classes where one-to-one attention is not given. These are very tiny tots. They need one-to-one attention. They need that bond, that touch, the feel of the teacher.
So as a preschool parent, there are so many preschools, right?
Yes.
So what is the things that I'll have to look into when I choose a preschool?
Okay. So now that you asked, the main thing for a parent is the environment. Okay, many of I'm not mentioning any school or blaming any school, but I've heard that many of the schools are very, small and cramped and dark. There's no place to play. So parents prefer a lot of good, ample space for playing. Okay, that is one plus point. A preschool should have a lot of space to play. Okay, and second is the teachers should be well trained. Well trained, yes. Very, very important. Many of them ask. I
still think having this number, since you told about the teachers has to be well trained.
Yes.
I think less than 80% of the schools are having still preschools or regular schools also. Why should I say only preschools? Regular schools and pre-primary schools are still having less than 80% of them are uncertified, untrained teachers. Yes. Yeah, this is one number that
so true.
I thought
so
I
true.
should tell.
No, very true. So the parents do ask that, are your teachers experienced? Are your teachers trained? And when they hear that, when I tell them that they have so many years of experience with us, so they're saying, wow. Thank you for your time, sir. We had a very nice chat. And so many topics we have covered, like, preschool, the education part, the NICC training, the books. Oh my God, it was very, very nice talking to you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is all mine.
No, the pleasure is mine.